As you can see, here's what my meal would look like. It's Canada Day. Very happy. Good for Canada for having another Canada Day. Really great. There's a bit of super cheap, kind of fake Parmesan cheese. It's not so bad. Got some fresh pasta that I froze because it was reduced to clear. It was close to its best before date. Now, why and how does this make me feel so energized? Because it's a vegetarian meal. More on that. Hello, this is Robert Ellis from DSP Plug. Mmm, doesn't that look good, huh? Now, the weird thing about food is the more spices that you want to add, you can eat very cheaply. I wait for the spaghetti sauce to be on sale. I add lots of paprika, see, and I steam the pasta. I don't boil it. I put a little bit of this Dollarama minced garlic for nutrition. Then I put some of this nice stir fry oil on my pasta while it steams. And that creates two dimensions of flavor. Have you ever eaten a steak that made you energized and made you feel like you weighed like 400 pounds and you were like some Thor god or something? Well, you had a meal like this. Well, let me tell you, this is the vegetarian challenge. And you know, pepper doesn't hurt neither. Pepper is a lot like turmeric in the way that it will help you digest food. Hold on, just put more pepper. Maybe you can watch me somehow. I gotta use one of those little stands or something. There we go. All right, you can see me? Yeah. All right. There we go. Lots of pepper, lots of pepper. Pepper is a really good nutrition too, but unfortunately, in the case of pepper, you will often need turmeric to get the most out of pepper. These are old tricks. Some of them are Turkish. Some of them are Silesian. Some of them are Italian. I think there was a people who called themselves Goblin, Polish. The Goblin, though, weren't actually like a people. They just lived in a city that was called something like Goblin, as far as I know. I used to have really old friends. And they would tell me about these things. Very fun, very fun. So we're starting to steam now. So you steam these up, and you can take the vegetarian challenge. I like to add leaves. Let's add some leaves, huh? Rosemary is something that can make you have some very vivid emotions. And you got to prepare yourself for rosemary. Rosemary is not something that most people will enjoy unless you have almost no depression. You really have to hone your mind because the kind of nutrition that's in rosemary is very profound. Add some Italian seasoning here. There we go. Now I'm going to add some pepper to the sauce now. This is the way people used to cook thousands of years ago. Simple food like this. This could feed like 4 people, but I'm kind of energetic, I guess. In the way of drinking and drugs, It's not really something I'm comfortable with. To be honest, I only have about, if I have a beer, one beer a day. And the only thing that I would use any kind of ganja would be if I had acute insomnia. After a few months of using it, though I don't recommend it, it doesn't work for everyone, you know. It can help you sleep naturally and you feel quite refreshed. But to me, I've often wondered what it's good for because, well, it's quite a depressant, isn't it? I don't think that's healthy unless you find yourself unable to sleep for a great amount of time. The only reason I make this caveat is that though I don't like to do harm to products, I've always found valerian and nitol and those kinds of Novocaine and those things. They give you a really weird headache. They make you feel lightheaded all day. They can do that to you for weeks. I haven't noticed a single a single effect from any of those that was a positive thing. I remember I remember being like a kind of like a raging bull on that stuff a few times. Just through my day, you know, I would just snort and act like some tough guy. Because yeah, I can be kind of tough, but you know, I'm not somebody who you know swings his arms out, tells people how macho he is. Yeah, right. Look at that. Look at that. Classic. Classic. Talk about a good vegetarian meal. Let me tell you, you could have a meal like this and you'd be good all day long. Now, me, I'm not a big fan of sugar. Why is that? Well, sugar really taxes the system. And in my mind, it's a lot like ganja. Makes you tired, makes you sleepy. They say the opposite, but I don't agree. I like the vegetable glycerin sweetener with the stevia and the various other things they add to it. I find that's the better way, all in all. Well, I've shown you how to make a pretty decent meal, and really, practically all you need. If you wanted to add some dried veggies, you remind yourself that many people, regardless of where they come from, can't always get the nutrition from vegetables unless you add a medium. For some people, it is pepper. For some people, it is paprika. And if you don't add it, well, that's that. But if you have a family, for instance, who might have survived many plagues, their ancestors might have survived many plagues, things like vegetables can be very hard to digest if they are not dried. I mean, if you can say that you had a family who ate raw vegetables, well, you would likely be a farmer, and farmers had very different outlooks back in the day. Nonetheless, dried veggies work, and so does paprika. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.